Hey guys, it's Anthony with the Rag Company, and today we're going to be talking about the different methods of hard water spot removal. If you live in an area with hard water, you'll know how pesky those water spots are when they appear on your car. And now, if you're not quite sure if you live in an area with hard water, a great and simple way to test is to pick up some total hardness test strips. These will show you the hardness of your water that you're using on your vehicle, and it'll give you a scale from anywhere from 0 to 500 parts per million, 500 being the highest of that scale. Now, this particular car behind me is my fiance's black Hyundai Elantra, in which she just happened to be parked in front of a sprinkler the other day that had baked on some extremely hard water spots. So today I'm going to be showing you the different methods to use in terms of getting that off, going from clay to distilled white vinegar mixed with water. We're going to be using a mineral deposit remover, aka MDR. We're going to be using wheel acid, and last but not least, what's tried and true, which is the polish and or compounding. Now, with all of that said, before we can get started, I have a dirty car behind me that I need to get clean. So we're going to grab the foam cannon, grab the pressure washer, and get this thing cleaned up. All right guys, so we just finished washing the car and it doesn't look a whole lot better. A good sign you have hard water spots is if after the wash you still see spotting, you got hard water. I'm sorry. With that said, our next step is going to be taping off this hood here into different sections to show you the differences between the different methods of hard water removal. Some are probably going to turn out pretty good, some are going to turn out okay, and we'll hopefully explain the differences between all of those as we go along. So let's go ahead and tape off this hood and get started. All right guys, so we have our hood taped off and we're ready for our different methods of water spot removal. So first we're going to be using the clay towel here. Going next, we're going to be using vinegar mixed with water. We're going to be using MDR, aka Optimum Mineral Deposit Remover, and then wheel acid, and then the far right there is going to be our compound and or polish. So with that said, we're going to get started with the Optimum Clay Towel in O&R mixed at clay lube dilution, which is 128:1. Now, for people that don't know, paint at a microscopic level is a bunch of peaks and valleys. I'm going to use this Optimum waffle pad here as my example. So that's kind of what it looks like. So when you have the mineral deposits that fall onto the paint, some may be in those valleys, some may be on those peaks. When using clay, we might be knocking down those peaks, but a lot of those minerals are still going to be in those valleys. So if you've ever used clay to remove hard water spots, you may notice they come back with time, and that's just because the mineral deposits haven't been removed, and we'll touch up a little bit more on that here in a minute. So let's go ahead and get started and see how this works. All right, so we'll see what the results are with the clay towel and O&R, see if it made a difference at all. The paint did feel smooth when using the clay towel, so I know that we may have removed a lot of the contamination, but these mineral deposits are still in those valleys because I can still see a lot of it. But as you can tell, it does look better. So like I said, that analogy of taking down those peaks worked, and so they're less severe. You don't see as much white spotting on it, but you can still see what could be an etching below that. So, and if it is an etching, that's when we have to compound and polish, but we'll test out different methods, see if those work better. So with that said, we're gonna move on to the vinegar step. Next up is distilled white vinegar mixed with water at a 1:1 dilution ratio. So this is pretty simple. We're just gonna spray it on, let it sit for a couple seconds, and wipe it off and see if it makes a difference. All right, so the vinegar's been sitting on here for about 30 seconds or so. What I'm gonna do to make this fair is I'm actually gonna spray some vinegar on the towel here, and I'm gonna agitate half this portion and leave the other half unagitated to see if it makes any difference in the removal of the mineral deposits. So let's go ahead and scrub a little bit here with this towel. I can tell you right now, it's not doing much, and I'm putting a decent amount of pressure on this. And yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and wipe up the rest here. And yeah, guys, that doesn't look a whole lot better, to be honest. I would say that the clay towel side looks better than the vinegar side. But yeah, that's what we're testing things for, and that's what we're trying to find out. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. All right, guys, moving on to the next step, we're gonna be using the Optimum MDR Mineral Deposit Remover. So this is pretty simple to do. What we're gonna do is we're gonna apply some on this applicator here, apply it onto this portion of the hood, work it in for 30 to 60 seconds, let it sit for a second, and then we're gonna wipe it clean with a microfiber towel, and then follow up with some type of O&R rinse or some type of wash, because we don't wanna leave this sitting on the surface. Now, before we get into it, I do just wanna tell you guys, this is a mineral deposit remover. So like I said before with the clay, when you're taking off those peaks, right, there's still those mineral deposits left in those valleys. Mineral deposit remover is meant to remove those minerals within those valleys rather than those peaks sometimes. So while you may still have to polish after this, you removed a lot of those mineral deposits that you wouldn't see normally. So with that said, just keep that in mind. Don't set your expectations too high. This is just something to actually remove the minerals rather than permanently remove the water spots. So let's get started. So the MDR has been sitting here for about 30 seconds or so after I applied it for 30 to 60 seconds. So it's been agitated and it has been sitting, so it's time to remove it. Just gonna use an edgeless 365 here to buff it off. Got to put a little bit of elbow grease into it. And if you want to make this easier, if I can be handed that IK sprayer there full of O&R. Thank you, sir. You can spray O&R on here as you would need to do with this anyways to remove the leftover product. So spray a little bit of O&R on there, and that wipes off much easier. All right, so kind of suspected this, but I knew this water was hard, guys. Like I said before, and I showed you on that little test meter, we're sitting at probably close to 425, 500 parts per million there. It's pretty high. We have really hard water here. So that mineral deposit remover didn't do a whole lot. I would say in certain areas though, it looks pretty similar to the clay. Like it actually looked like it removed something, but not all of it as it's still there. All right guys, so now it's time to break out the big guns. We're getting a little bit deeper into the chemical side of things. So what this is wheel cleaning acid diluted at 2 to 1. So 2 parts water, 1 part wheel acid. This is safe to use on clear coated paint. However, I don't want to get any overspray onto the glass. That would be a no-go, as that will burn some of the glass itself. So I just want to keep this on the paint. So with that said, I'm going to be using a towel here. I am wearing gloves to protect my hands. This is potent stuff. Don't breathe it in. I'm just going to go ahead and give it a couple sprays on this towel, and then I'm going to just work it in on the towel itself. And I'll tell you right now that this is already working. A couple more sprays. Keep spreading it in. Oh man, I probably should be wearing a respirator. I know people are going to be saying something like that, and I agree with you. All right guys, so even the camera guys were extremely impressed by that. After seeing all the stuff we just did and seeing the wheel acid, they were like, whoa, and I agree, that took that right off. So you can see that paint is looking clear and fresh. There's no more mineral deposits. So that was the wheel acid portion. So if you're going the chemical route, I think that's the obvious answer there. However, you wanna make sure that you're doing it diluted. You wanna make sure you're wearing protective gear, gloves. I probably should have been wearing a face mask on that. I'm sorry for the people watching, but that's it. I mean, that was awesome. So next we're gonna move on to the big guns of the abrasion process, and we're gonna break out a polisher as well as some compound to see if we can get any better result. All right guys, so last step, best step, right? Is that what they say? I don't know. Anyway, so today I'm going to be polishing this, compounding it, polishing, same thing, just different verbiage. So today I'm gonna be using the Flex 3401. I know you probably expected I was going to use a Rupes, but big surprise, busting out the flex today. So I'm still gonna be using the Last Cut compounding glaze though, as this is my favorite. So with that said, we're gonna go ahead and apply 4 pea-sized drops here. Bam, 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 looks good. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it on a speed setting of 3 here, put my cord over my shoulder, find a spot I wanna start at, and begin polishing. All right, time to remove the compound, see what the results are here. So using an edgeless 365, and that's giving me about the results that I expected here. Looks like all of the major spots have been removed. I still see a couple stragglers here. If I would have maybe done a mineral deposit remover before that, maybe those would be gone. All right guys, so that is that. I hope this video was informative. That was the different methods of water spot removal, well, at least the most common methods used in the detailing industry. In terms of what worked the best, honestly, for the ease of use and the amount of time, I would say the wheel acid was the fastest working product out of all of these. The polishing step was pretty quick as well, but again, you are using a polisher, you are wiping things off, and if you were doing that a polish by hand, I can only imagine how much more time that would have taken. Following that, I would say the clay towel was the next best, MDR, then probably vinegar as the last place winner there. So again, I hope this video was informative. As always, if you guys like this video, make sure you give us a thumbs up. You guys can subscribe for more and stay tuned for more videos right here at The Rag Company.